Alright, welcome everybody to another DBD video. I'm going to be reading the lore of the pig, since I know that recently she got a rift dedicated to her, and also Detective Tap, which is very cool. I really like that a lot. And, I kind of wanted to dedicate it to the rift that just came out. So, yeah, we're going to read Pig's lore. And I can show you a part of the skin of the rift. I only have pieces because I have not played the rift at all yet, so I can show you like the pieces of it, and then maybe I'll show a video of the pieces all together. So here's the beginning part of it. It looks, it's called Bloody Beginnings. The clothes worn during Amanda's epiphany as she learned to cherish and fight for her life. So I'm guessing this is how she was dressed when she was in Saw and stuff like that. So it looks really cool. I like it a lot. And she also has a separate cosmetic, and also there's a bunch of other cosmetics that comes in the rift, but right now we're only focusing on the pig. So we also have Thorn's Kiss. I'm pretty sure it moves in the game. I'll probably show a video of that if it does. Yeah, it looks very cool. I like it a lot, and it's called A Cruel Blade That Tears the Flesh of Its Victims. So very upfront, very blunt as well, and very cool, very cool. And then last but not least, we have the head cosmetic, which is probably the closest thing we're ever gonna get to actually seeing the killer's face. It looks really cool anyways, so I like the mask. I like how it shows a little bit of the mouth and a little head trap on top of her head, like it's some kind of crown or something. So it's actually really cool. I like it a lot, and it even gives you a charm that you can use for when you hook survivors. So that's really cool. I really like it a lot. It's a jovial puppet that carries a very serious message. So yeah, that's sick. Really cool. It even moves. I didn't even know that it moved until now. Dude, that's so cool. Yeah, we're gonna read the lore, and I hope you guys enjoy. When John Kramer, better known as Jigsaw, planned for his son to be born during the Chinese zodiac year of the pig, he wanted it to represent fertility and rebirth, a new beginning for him and his wife, and the start of a charmed life for his son. But that plan was shattered on the night that a junkie broke into his wife's clinic hoping to score. After this event resulted in the death of his unborn son, John finally caught up with the junkie, making him his first test subject. And the pig was changed forever too. It became a representation of the disease that was rotting John from the inside, a reminder that we are just meat unless we elevate ourselves through our actions. By grasping life from the jaws of death, the pig became a vessel, an agent of Jigsaw, conveying the subjects to their test. For some of those who emerged victorious, the pig could still be a rebirth into their new lives as apprentices, even disciples of Jigsaw. That was the case for Amanda Young, a troubled soul whose life had been a catalogue of harm both to herself and those around her. That changed when she faced and bested Jigsaw's test. Deciding her life was worth something, she became devoted to Jigsaw's cause, ready to take over when the cancer consumed him. But she became more dependent on John. Her anguish at his impending death, combined with a belief that their test subjects weren't capable of saving themselves, of being reborn in the crucible of the games. Seeing this, John presented her with another game, another chance to save herself. But Amanda let her rage and jealousy rule her actions. She failed the test and took a bullet as a consequence. Bleeding out on the tiled floor, darkness engulfed Amanda's vision. accompanied by a sound like creaking wood. When she was in the forest, once more viewing the world through the eyes of a pig, trees surrounded her, their branches clawing at her from all sides. Waves of panic washed over her, and she could hear her breath reverberating inside the mask. Had she been damned, cursed to spend her days here, in disguise? Or maybe this was another test. Maybe she hadn't failed at all. John always thought one step ahead of everyone else, planned for every eventuality. He would never give up on her, surely. Jigsaw may have gone, but he had passed her on to another, a being for whom she would be the pig again. Ultimately, she saw now that she had been right in the choices she had made. The time for the games was over. There was no chance of redemption for any of them. They were meat, and meat was destined for slaughter. Dang, okay. I did not know that. I actually have not watched the Saw movies, so this is like kind of like just new to me. I honestly, I'm probably gonna go back and start watching them because I have watched them before when I was younger with my brother, but I never really like got into the lore other than I knew that John Kramer, which is like the face of Jigsaw, I guess. The person says like, "Oh, want to play a game." That's John. He's the guy that basically takes junkies and whatnot, or like, you know, what's the word? You know, failures of life, I guess. Puts them into a game, and basically it becomes a life or death. And if they get it right, then they live, have a revelation. If they don't, then they die, and that's the end of them. And Amanda Young was one of the survivors, it looks like, and ended up becoming one of the disciples of Jigsaw. But even though she did devote herself, she was really like dependent on John, and she ended up getting killed. So all this stuff is like very new to me, which is really cool to see that basically she failed the test and then got put by the entity into this world, but thinking it's another test, saying that she hadn't failed, and thinking that yeah, she made the right choice, that everybody's just kind of just meat and they're just ready to get killed because she didn't follow the beliefs of John Kramer at the end, because he thought that they can have a second chance after they pass, but Amanda thinks differently, thinks that no, they don't get a second chance, they die here. So yeah, that's just the pig. That's really cool. I can't wait to edit all this stuff and everything like that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll definitely see you in the next one. Alright. But last but not least, let's go check a perk build that we can make for her. So, I know that the pig is a very basic killer. Basically, she's a M1 killer, and she crouches. If she crouches, she has no terror radius and whatnot. And then she has a pounce attack called Ambush, which makes a really loud roar. It kind of notifies everybody that she's about to pounce on them. So it's not the greatest, move, but she does go a lot faster, like a pretty long dash before the attack ends. Kind of like a coup de grace perk without having coup de grace when she's on the floor. So a lot of people, after you down them, you would put a Jigsaw baptism, I guess it was called, a bear trap on their head. After you put a bear trap on their head, once the generator is finished, the trap automatically starts the timer. If the timer expires and they attempt to leave, or the timer goes up, the reverse bear trap that's still attached to the head explodes. So yeah, they're put on a little tiny timer where they have to find macabres, jigsaws around the map. They're all spawned around the map, and they're highlighted white so they can run that way. But the pig can stop them from getting those bear traps, so it becomes pretty difficult, or she has to chase other people as well. So it depends. It's a very niche um, power, to say the least. So basically, kind of like at the end of the day, she's kind of just an M1 killer. So a lot of M1 killers need help when it comes to either attacking gens or getting people's hook fast and things like that. So I have a build for her that I think would help any killer, I guess, because it's a base killer thing that you can do. And the first perk we're gonna go with is Bamboozle. Bamboozle is a great perk. Stops people from looping a certain area and have to leave to another, or if they have no other, then usually they would just get down, or have to go to a pallet in order to save themselves. Very good. Vaults 15% faster, and also it blocks the window that you vaulted for 16 seconds. So it's very good. That's basically all I gotta say about it. It's usually kind of a chase stopper, and on many occasions, unless the survivor is very smart and finds out that you have it and tries to play around it very well. But otherwise, it's very good against most survivors, so I definitely recommend using it on Pig. Next, we have Jolt, or Surge as it was called before. Basically, after putting survivor into a dying state with a basic attack, causes all generators within a 32-meter radius instantly to explode and begin regressing. Generators affected by Jolt immediately lose 8% of their progress. So it's really good when you're chasing a survivor and there's people working on gens near you, and kind of like are just like trying to tank on gens while the survivor's getting chased. The moment you down the survivor, it's gonna explode and it's gonna basically regress instantly 8%. Really great. And then you can also run it with Agitation, which after downing the survivor, you pick them up. You get excited in anticipation of hooking your prey. Increases your movement speed while transporting bodies by 12%. I think it increases by 16% or something like that if it's level 3. So it's really good when hooking survivors very quickly and having to get to a gen. And that leads us to our last perk, which is Goals the Weasel, which I don't have on Pig, unfortunately, but is a great perk on Pig. So basically, after hooking a person on a hook, you have 45 seconds to get to a generator and kick it. Once you kick it, it automatically loses 25% of its progress and continuously starts to regress. So say that you basically down a survivor, jolt happens and 8% is lost, and it kind of explodes and hits the survivor off the gen a little bit. They can still work on that gen, and if they're still working on the gen, basically you could pick up the survivor, hook them, and then go straight to that gen that's being worked on, and then hit it with pop. So it goes from 8% progress, 8% regression, into like I guess they work on it for like 2% extra, so it goes from 6% regression, and then you hit pop which is another 25%, so that would be a 31% regression very quickly, and it slows down that generator very fast and probably will slow down the game. Definitely. So yeah, great build if you wanna, if you're pretty good on chases and you want to stop chases pretty quickly. I definitely recommend using Agitation, Bamboozle, Goals the Weasel, and Jolts. And if you don't want to run Jolts, I would recommend using Save the Best for Last, because that is basically a perk that you use that you receive tokens for, and since Pig is a basic attack killer, it's very good for her, because you get a total of 8 tokens that you can stack. Every time you hit a survivor that's not the obsession, you gain a token, and it decreases the cooldown of your attack by 8%. I'm guessing. Let me check on another killer. Pretty sure I have it on Ghostface, so let's check on Ghostface. So save the best for last. Don't have it on level 3, but I have it on level 2, so it still applies when it decreases the percentage. So it decreases by 5%. So every time it decreases by 5%, you gain a token. Every time it goes all the way up to, since there's 8 tokens in total, you can decrease your cooldown by 40%. But there's a downside. If you hit the obsession with your basic attack, it will cause you to lose 3 tokens. But the thing is that since it's on Pig, she has her power where basically she can crouch and has basically another ability that's not a basic attack. So it becomes very beneficial for her. So when she crouches, and then after that she does a special attack called Ambush, which is not a basic attack. So you can keep those stacks if you find the obsession and hit her with Ambush. So it becomes extremely good for Pig or any I think Pig and Demogorgon are really good for Save the Best for Last, especially because they have a secondary attack, even though they're basically kind of like a M1 killer. But there are certain times where, certain situations where you can use your ability in order to keep a certain perk's stats. So yeah, so if you don't want Jolt for Gen Regression, I recommend using Save the Best for Last. So yeah, that's kind of like my perk build for her. I think another good perk build for her as well, which is good on, I say basically any color, would be Corrupt Intervention, Spirit Fury, Enduring, and Pop Goals the Weasel. I think those would be a very good build for her. So basically, Corrupt Intervention basically blocks the generators, three furthest generators from you for 120 seconds if it's level 3. So if it's level 2, then it's 100 seconds. If it's level 3, it's 120. Very good, basically, to start early game, to find survivors early. Basically, go only work on particular gens, I think like 4 of them, for 100 seconds. So you'll eventually find a survivor working on one or hiding around them. So it's good. It's a good early game starter, so you don't get gen rushed and whatnot. Enduring is basically a perk that you use, is that when you get hit by a pallet or you get stunned by a pallet, you would usually stay there for about 3 seconds, and now it goes from half now, so I think it's 1.5 seconds, because you get out of stun 50% faster. So it's very good. Pair that up with Spirit Fury, it becomes pretty good. So after breaking a pallet, breaking 2 pallets, if it's level 3, if it's level 2, then you have to break 3 pallets. If you break 2 pallets, the next time you're stunned by a pallet, the entity will instantly break the pallet, and you will suffer from this, but you'll still suffer from the stun effect penalty. So usually you get hit by pallets, you'll play a little bit more reckless and try to get the pallets down. After the third one gets hit on your head and you broke the other 2, the thing will break. You'll get out of stun faster because you have Enduring, and then you can down the survivor before they get to another loop, which is great. And then last but not least, we have Pop Goes the Weasel. It's literally good on every killer, I'd say. So it's like instantly regresses 25% of progress after hooking a survivor the next 45 seconds. And it kind of just slows down the game when you need to slow down. So yeah, those are the 2 builds I would recommend using on the Pig. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.